you for yet another week of the pod. We hope that if you are listening, that you come over to YouTube and subscribe so that you can watch our adventures. And if you guys have not left a review, man, leave a review for us. We would love to see it on Apple and Spotify. And we love to get your messages and your emails and all of those things. But definitely a review is one of the simplest, easiest ways you can support us and help other people to find us. So we invite you guys to do that. Brad says emojis count as a review, even though I disagree with him. This week's topic, typically you guys come alongside us and join us on our adventures as we navigate things through the week. And, I got an opportunity to meet with someone this past week where this topic came up really specifically. And it just reminded me very much of how most marriages, they don't just crumble in like one event or one season, but that it's this internal just process that people are going through first. And I just thought we needed to just dedicate an episode to this, talking about what that looks like, because many people don't know it, that they're just heading towards building a case for divorce.
Yeah. That's
I always feel like this is like where I need to have you start off the podcast episodes, because I'll just go on this little rant and then I just like look at you and then you're like, yes.
I mean, do you want me not to agree with you?
Maybe I don't.
Okay.
Maybe I want you to do what I do. So like, I'm going to push back a little.
You always do that to me. Always.
I always do that? I don't think so. I mean, push back on that.
Exactly. You see? Always.
Sometimes you need a little pushback.
I get it all the time.
I am 99.9% on board with everything that you say.
I think you push back in your head a lot.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's so ridiculous.
I think you do.
How do you think that I push back in my head a lot?
I just think that I get a lot of pushback, and sometimes it's verbal, sometimes it's not.
Okay. If somebody doesn't listen, they just think I'm like just randomly just trash talking all the time, which
not trash. I didn't say anything about trash talking. You brought that in here.
I do not push back a lot in my head, just so you know. Yeah. But maybe I should develop like a way that I do my eyes or something, so if I am not trash talking, pushback in my head.
The way you do your eyes.
Yeah, I'll develop one. Like I'll have to okay, you'll know if I actually am pushbacking in my head. I'll give you like some eyes. Then you'll know like this. This is why you guys have to watch on YouTube, because we have all sorts of adventures along the way. So anyways, where do you think that it typically starts for a person in a marriage when it comes to building a case for divorce?
I mean, I think, I would say assumptions.
Assumptions?
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's hurt behind it, right? But I mean, building a case towards divorce, I think starts with assumptions.
Starts with assumptions. Do you think that people think that they're building a case for divorce when they start with assumptions?
No, I think I've just given an epiphany to a bunch of people.
And a what?
Epiphany. No, I don't think people, I mean, I don't know if there's any crazy people that are like, I want to get a divorce, that get married for a goal to build a case for divorce. I mean, I guess there is.
No, I don't think.
Because if you go into a marriage and you're like, if it's not really working out, then I'll just get a divorce. So then you're already coming in with the mentality of, I can walk away from
like
this.
An escape plan.
Already. So then from that point on, you might have fun and, you know, all these things you share, but you're silently gathering evidence and files and building these target packages so you can just turn around and, you know, be okay with divorce, not necessarily attacking the other spouse, but just being like, oh no, we're getting a divorce because, you know, and then just set the file down. Like, here's what I have on you.
Right.
From the very beginning.
I don't think that I know of anyone who would ever say that that was their intention from the beginning. But I agree with you that there's a general attitude of marriage that people are approaching it with this idea always contractually. If you're not going to do this part, then yes, I will also step away from this contract, or I don't if you don't, and if you will, I will kind of mentality. I think a lot of people, without even realizing it, definitely look at marriage that way when they begin. But I don't think that they go into it thinking we will get divorced.
That's not what I said.
Oh,
okay.
Push back.
I said, yes, I'm going to push back. I didn't say they go into it thinking of divorce. I said they go into it with the option of divorce.
Yeah.
And so because of that,
it already means that you're building a case.
Then they've already had this tone in their head that, like, yeah, everything's going great, but anytime there's a fight, anytime there's something I don't like, anytime there's some kind of hardship, anytime there's, you know, all these
struggle
things,
is real.
It just goes into that, you know, file.
And just to caveat right away, because I'm always the one that has to caveat, we're not talking, about abusive situations. We're not talking about.
I don't feel like.
You don't feel like I need a caveat anymore?
No, I don't. And I get like.
See, guys, I'm the one who gets to push back.
Touchy feely. Like, look, we like empathy, all those things. Yes, of course. But like, we're never telling people to stay in abuse. We're never telling them, like, never anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not. But that's like,
well, what if it's a first time
listener? If you stumble on our Instagram
specifying.
or on our podcast, like, I think you're going to get that tone from the very beginning that we don't condone those things.
So if I was, I won't caveat, but you all know what I would say. So I won't say all the things because Brad's now forbidden me to caveat.
I just don't think it's needed.
No, I think for me, specifically with women, I think that we begin to build a case in our mind. I know I'm laughing because you started off in the beginning saying that I push back in my mind, which I really don't. But I think that the reality is for women, they do build a case, and the men do this too, but women typically, we are very specific in our case building. I would say the way that I visualize that is that we literally play judge and jury in a courtroom, and our husband is on trial, but they don't know they're on trial.
Yeah.
And in that, it's like every little setback, failure, shortcoming, we are continuing to build this case against our husband. And the narrative that we're internalizing is constantly justifying why we are not doing this thing, or why we do this thing or say this thing or have to do this thing over and over. And if ever confronted with building the case, we have like a perfect justification for why we are where we are, and could give you dates and times and examples. And this is what I think I see a lot of times happen in this like slow destruction in marriage.
Yeah.
Do you feel like men are the same way? Typically.
No, I don't. I feel like a narcissistic man would be like that, but I don't think that men are like that. I don't think so at all. I think your normal average man isn't sitting there like with their,
courtroom
wife on, on stand or whatever. I don't think that. Narcissistically, absolutely. Like, but there's so many other things to being a husband than like, is she doing this? Is she doing that? Like, I got married not to babysit, right? Like that. Just not why I got married. I got married because I wanted to spend my life with you and build a family and grow old and have fun. And, and yes, there's hard times and all those things,
sure.
Of course, but it's just someone that I can be with for the rest of my life. And, pursue God and pursue what our marriage is and how it's changing throughout the years and for the better, you know, and all those things. So I don't ever, you know, I'm never like, oh man, you know, she's not, I don't know, doing the dishes. You know,
I always love how we go back to the dishes.
Because I don't know, because I don't have experience. And you, not that you don't do things, you know, but I don't look at it like that. I have so many other things that are on my mind that are part of my responsibilities that it's not like I'm trying to pick out things that you're doing that I don't like or that are wrong or that you're not doing that I wish you were doing. And so I think that in a narcissist, 100%, they have to control every single little thing. And
I think Brad just called women narcissists.
I mean, that's why I said for men, I think it's a narcissistic man. Now, I will say that I mean, there's probably some of those tendencies in women that do this. Well, and it could be bred out of, or born out of fear and hurt and all that. Yeah. But it is like this, you're not always right. I'm not always right. You know?
There's like always, that's what the danger is when this is happening. And not that you tune out or think that we're calling you a narcissist or anything like that. It's like our need for control or fear or, you know, you're wanting to feel safety, all those things that play into why women might be experiencing this trial mindset, because you're sitting there. And I think when a woman gets to this place, typically what has already happened is she has felt like I have dealt with a series of disappointments over and over and over and over again. And it leads to this leaning into seeking justification for, or looking with, like idealizing what it would look like to either have like her former life and or in a future without her husband, because she's so tired of disappointments or saying the same thing and it not being heard or not being followed through, or, you know. And so I think that's typically, I don't think most women start off in that courtroom mentality, but I think many women end up there over a series of years. And I think it's important that we just kind of address it and see it for what that is, because to me, when a woman or a man is in that position that if you really looked at and evaluated your thought life, right, and your attitude internally and externally with your spouse, and you realize like, yes, I have them in this like courtroom position, it's like you basically, for lack of a better way to say it, it's almost like you shove God out of it, right? It's like you've taken the position in that courtroom, except for the person on trial, right? You've like, you're covering it all. And in that case, you're continually building up, like I said, you're like, I'm judge and jury here, right? And many times what I also see happening in someone in this position is they feel almost like a disconnect from God in those moments. It's like, I can't hear from God. or I'm not really listening to the Lord, or I'm not really inviting him in. And it's like, and I think it's always because in that courtroom environment, right, you have decided to place yourself where God is meant to be.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I could also see that, like you said, nothing's ever, you know, it's not, there's a buildup, right? So I would even argue that, you know, feeling of separation was built up between a lot of habits that woman, this proverbial woman, has, right? Or doesn't have, you know, like, so are you know, going to church on Sundays and then not, you know, are you getting fed one day a week and then that's it?
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's
absolutely.
If someone's, you know, cause we don't just, you know, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and be like, man, I don't feel like I ever hear from God. Like I don't even know, you know, it's just not one day to the next. There's always, it might feel like one day to the next, but it's not one day to the next. There's always something that's leading to that.
Little steps in the wrong
Yeah.
direction.
And that's why, like, even when you're talking and this is a super interesting topic, of course, but the big thing that was popping in my head was like, man, what if God was doing this to us? Right? Like that is, and he has every right to do this to us.
Yeah. He's a perfect judge.
Yeah, every right. And he will judge every single one of us. But you imagine if he's just constantly building a case, like, all your, just like, there would be no sense, it'd be like the book of Ecclesiastes, right? Be no sense in life. Like there's nothing, like what can you do? Right. And it's scary to think that like that, cause you gave that example, like you're taking God's place, and you imagine if that was being done to you, cause I don't even feel like you're taking God's place. I know what you're saying, but I don't even feel like God's in the courtroom with you on the stand,
right?
Building a case against you,
Yeah, thank you, Jesus.
And yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Because the debt has already been paid.
Yeah, like I would never want that on my worst enemy, right? Like that's got to be the worst thing ever. So I don't even think that there's a courtroom that this woman is or spouse, because it could be a man, but I know you're specific about women, that she pushes him out. She's pushed him out of her life, and look back on your weeks and months and potentially years and see like how did I slowly drift away from whatever I had before. Because if you're saying that you don't ever hear from God, or why can't I hear him, or I'm not listening to him, that's scary, first of all. Then that means you're seeing things that he's trying to speak to you, and you're like, no, I'm not listening to you. That's a whole nother episode. But like if that's what you're saying, then what was it before? Right? Was there this strong, were you in the word and you're like, man, because that's how God speaks to you, people. Like, there's no magic in this at all. It's very straightforward, black and white. You want to hear from God, pick up his word, right? Like he's going to put things on your heart. Yeah. Right? He's going to
speak through people, places.
Things like that. But if you want to hear from God, it's easy. Just pick up your Bible and read it. Like that's how you're going to hear from him. And so, what was it before these things happened?
Do you think that, as we're kind of discussing this, that people end up correlating where they are in their marriage or can with their position with the Lord, right? Like if they have repeatedly experienced like this high level of disappointment in their marriage, right? And when they're so frustrated with communication and, a lack of effort and just a million little things that can really cause marriages to walk a slow road of destruction. Yeah. That in that disappointment, it's often like turned towards God in this aspect of saying like, well, why aren't you doing something? Why hasn't anything changed? Almost like we take our own earthly disappointments and transfer them to the heavenly aspect, where it's like we shouldn't have to deal with disappointments, and God didn't do anything, so now I'm disappointed with God.
First of all, that's narcissistic in itself, right? Like we are dealing with disappointment.
Always,
yeah. There's nothing in that word that says that we're 100%. Not,
But that connection, do you feel like that connection? Because I don't think anyone is necessarily thinking like I'm being narcissistic. It's like this.
No, of course not.
It's this element, I think, of hopelessness that comes over a marriage, or like I said, that heavy weight of disappointment. And I don't think it's necessarily a thread that you think you're tying together, but I think it often can be.
I think of this almost immediately. It is like David in the Psalms, right? But even when he's mad, and complaining, how does he end them? God, you're all powerful. Basically,
a reminder of who God is.
I'm going to sum it up in all the different Psalms but basically he complains, gets it out there. This is my problem. These are my hardships. That people are trying to kill me. All these things, right? Like my world is crashing down around me.
Yeah, kill my enemies.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, he made him king, right? God made him king. Like he anointed him to do all these, and then he's going through all this. So all the hardships, disappointment. I mean, come on, tons of disappointment, right? Yeah. And he's complaining all these things, and then he says what? Basically, he's like, God, you're all powerful. But God, you're all powerful. Yeah. Like worded different. I'm not quoting scripture, but that's what he's saying after everything. He's realizing, yes, I'm complaining to you. I don't understand what's going on. I don't get all these things. I feel like I don't deserve them, right? And that's perfectly human. And then it's like, but
I serve a perfect God.
But I know who you are, right? And I think that's, so you're tying these together, but it should never be blaming God, right? Yeah. It's the circumstances are unfortunate, right? And no marriage is perfect. But the more, so you would write those Psalms, you would write in your journal, you would write these things if you were prioritizing or keeping your priority correct, right? My priority is in him. And then these things are happening in my marriage. What am I doing right away? I'm giving it all to him. I have no control, right? So I'm praying to him, giving it to him, talking to him about it, doing all these things. But my main helpline, right? I'm not going to do this on my own is God. Look at our circumstances, like the worst. And what'd you do? You complained. You got mad. You did all these things in prayer. And then you kept praying. That's, I'm not trying to compare someone's, marriage reality to what we went through, but where did you run?
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And you had problems with, I know you went through all your stuff, but where'd you run? You ran to him. I'm like, this doesn't change. This is changing right now, but my relationship with God doesn't change, right? It's, in essence, it got stronger, right? Because not that you want to go through something like that to have a strong relationship with Christ, but it got stronger. You get stronger through these things, right? It's like gold in the fire, all these things you refine. So tying it together, like, again, where is your, and I'm not trying to like scapegoat it, but like, what were you doing prior to any of this stuff happening with your walk with Christ? Because that's it, right? Just like we're saying, like, it is all tied together.
Yeah. That's why I was thinking of when I was looking and, thinking about a particular situation where oftentimes I think people are in a marriage and, then they're in their faith, right? And they're walking strong in both. And they're feeling like, okay, yeah, we're together in this, we're walking firm in this, and all of that. Like, I'm doing my devotions, I'm in God's word, and then all of a sudden they are experiencing that other, and the rest of it seems to also go down.
It's holistic, right? And your whole life is holistic, spiritual, mental, and physical, right? So all of those affect each other, right? One, more than likely, I don't know statistically if anyone's ever done this, but more than likely one of those is stronger than the other, right? Depending on who you are and where you're, we all, even if you don't believe in God, you have a spiritual side of you. So like, one of those two things is stronger than the other. Yes, I agree that it does. The physical affects the spiritual, but then you have a fork in the road, right? So like, if you're doing these things, like I was talking about just a minute ago, spiritually, right? If you're, building spiritual resilience, right? If you're like, I just was praying about this, I don't know, the other day or whatever. And I talked to you about it, when it's like faith of a mustard seed and Jesus is giving those things, and everyone's like, but then later, the disciples try to do something and come back to Jesus and they're like, hey, we couldn't do it. And he's like, just because you have little faith. And then it's like, well, wait a minute, but you just said faith of a mustard seed, and that's, it's a mustard seed, right? Go grab one, look at it. But then it kind of hit me, and listen, I'm not a theologian or anything like that, but this just kind of hit me, and I was like, what if that example is that it's planted and that great tree that comes from it? Like mustard tree is like, it's significant, right? And so I was just praying the other day, like, that's how I want my faith, right? I want my faith not only the size of this mustard tree growing, but also I want it next to the streams that'll feed it. Right. And that's my relationship with Christ. Like, I need him to feed it. So I want to be rooted in that. So when you're rooted in those things, like, the storms are going to hit. Yeah. The earth's going to shake. All those things are going to happen. Fire's going to come, all those things. But when you're rooted in that, you're fine. You're going to get beat up.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get a little bruised up, but you're rooted. You're not going anywhere, right? Your relationship with God is still there. So when your marriage is on the rocks, like your relation, or not, maybe even not on the rocks. It's just that you're building this thing up and you're having issues now in your marriage, and you're like, but I shouldn't have issues because my spiritual life is so good. It's like, man, where does the enemy want to attack first? Like the family, right?
Absolutely.
That's why you see the marriages the way they are now. That's why you see the kids the way they are now, or dads leaving, all those things you see. It's because this is the union of Christ, right? Like I was thinking how it's just interesting with all of this that your marriage is that mirror image of, Jesus and the church, right? You've heard that before.
It's meant to be.
Yeah, it's meant to be this mirror image. And so when it starts to get distorted, yes, there could be a spouse that's not doing what they should, quote unquote, should be doing. I'm not arguing against that. Like there are things that we should be doing, right?
Right.
But when that distorted image starts to happen, you as a spouse start leaving serving. You start leaving being number two. You start leaving you start pulling away from like the love that Christ would have.
The model he set for us.
You start pulling away from that. So you stop doing things because you're like, well, my contract isn't working anymore. And I don't agree with this. Instead of continuing that walk and facing this battle in the spiritual realm. I mean, and then also have they talked about it?
Yeah, right? Well, I think that's the interesting thing that happens in so many marriages is that, one day someone is getting served divorce papers, and typically one of them is shocked that they're at that place. Now, the other person is like, I've said these things. Yeah. I've told you, maybe there's the atmosphere of threatening divorce repeatedly in your home. And so it has become diminished in value anyways, right? Because you're constantly saying, maybe we should just get divorced. Or maybe I'll just get a lawyer, and that has become the attitude in your home. And so it becomes dismissive in and of itself. And then you're feeling like I've said this many times, and the other person is like, I mean, I knew we had some problems, but I didn't think we were this bad, because the other person has been, from the first time, that second time, third time that divorce was threatened, has had somebody in a courtroom
or even
threatening, building
that,
the case.
Like, what I'm getting at is, does he even know? Maybe he's never been threatened or she's never been threatened with divorce, but do they even know what's going on?
Yeah,
maybe they're so focused on career or whatever it is, and then they think that they're giving enough at home.
Right.
I'm not making an excuse for
someone else's
any
behavior,
of this at all. Like, this is not an excuse. People need to start looking at not the problem, but also themselves, right? And I'm not saying that they are the problem, but in every thing that happens, you should look at yourself first.
Yeah.
And I didn't ever used to do this. This is, relatively, I wouldn't say new, like, years, but I've had to really start looking at myself, and I've had to check myself. So if there's something that's bothering me, or someone does something that I don't, that, I don't know, hurts me or makes me feel weird, whatever it is, the first thing I need to do is look at me and what am I doing, right? I don't know, I'm not asking how it makes me feel. I'm not trying to be like, super counselor. I'm just, am I doing something that's making this problem?
Yeah.
Am I contributing, or is this just out of left field? Like, I have no idea.
Well, because ultimately we can only do something about us, right? And we're reading a book right now called Stay in Your Lane, and it's so far what we've read it. I mean, it's a pretty basic book, but at the same time, that basic principle applies here as well. And a lot of it is just in, these 3 columns that you lay out for decisions. That is what's mine, what's theirs, what's God's. And definitely, that sounds so simple in principle, but it is definitely not easy to navigate through. And, those marriage relationships where it's like, well, yeah, but what's theirs certainly affects what's mine. And well, how do I, handle this situation? And how's that going to impact our future? And And then also going into that, okay, but ultimately what is God's, right? And that's where it gets really serious, right? We're in this position evaluating our marriage and feeling hopeless, feeling disappointed, have developed this case against them. Yeah. And at any point, willing to pull this list out, right, of offenses that have been made. And ultimately, just like you're saying, like, you can only do something about you.
No, absolutely. And I mean, we've heard it before, and there's couples that know that there's an issue. And, you said it as a basic book, and I know what you're saying by saying that it's a, basic book, but really I don't think there's any advanced decision-making processes, right? There's one decision-making process, and we could break it down, but there's one decision-making process, and it just gets advanced based on what decisions you're making. But really the core of it is, just like these columns of what are my responsibilities, what are their responsibilities, and what are God's, what's God's, what don't I need?
And why do I keep trying to reach into all the other columns?
Yeah. And I think that, everybody, I don't feel like I'm a control freak or whatever, however you would term that. I don't want to offend anyone. I don't know if I could say freak, but I don't know if I don't feel like I'm ever like that, but there's still times where I'm holding something that I shouldn't be holding. And I'm probably, and you know me best, I'm probably one of the most chill people, even with control of things. I've learned to let go of a lot of stuff and just kind of, go with it, right? There are certain things that I need to work on more, especially, I value my, my home time, right? So if I feel like I'm getting not enough home time, then, and that's a control thing, right? I mean, it's deeper, I need rest and all those things, but there's some type of control that I'm trying to hang on to and keep, right? But overall, I just kind of let things go. So I don't feel like I have that issue, but my point is all humans lean towards control.
Absolutely.
There are still, of course, that is.
Look at Adam and Eve in the garden.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But control is not always a bad thing. And so that's why we have aspects of our life we do control. But it's when you are holding on to it so tight that you don't let God do anything with it, right? So I think that's where it gets bad. Or you start dictating. You become a dictator instead of, a husband or a wife. You're becoming more of a manager, and you're just, telling people what they need to be doing. That's control too, of course, but I don't think control is inherently bad, but I don't think it's basic in that sense. Everyone needs to put their things in their columns, right? And I haven't thought about it as columns until I started reading this book, and I think it's good. I just never thought about them like that. Yeah, I'm just kind of
definitely helps to evaluate decisions and saying very specifically.
Yeah, I just know well, that's Lisa's. I don't need to take ownership of that piece, right? That's what you're the vice versa. I
have to laugh though, because I'm going to give this little example, because definitely we do not do this perfectly.
No,
for sure.
Absolutely. I didn't say that.
I didn't say you did. No. I just want to give this example. So we are, I'm frustrated about this certain thing, and we try to communicate when we have some stuff going on in our life or are frustrated about something. Had nothing to do with Brad, but I'm expressing this frustration. Now, Brad goes from here's the frustration to I will solve said frustration, and now you no longer have to you don't even have to pay attention to that emotion anymore. It's irrelevant in your life.
I feel that
it's such a dude way.
I haven't heard anything that's wrong about what you're saying so far.
It's such a dude way to handle things. It's this middle period of you navigating from this position to this position, and the thought process is just eliminate that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I've clearly come in like the executor, boom,
You're
done.
the damsel in distress. No. And I heard your cries, and I came in riding a horse.
It's so ridiculous.
I said, "Don't worry, my fair maiden."
It's like your emotion is no longer relevant, and so
no, it's not that it's not relevant. It's that you can close that door.
And he's like, "Look, what I did, I slammed it shut for you.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
You don't have to open it.
Yeah."
Everything's all right.
It's the most ridiculous.
And then you kept talking. I'm like, I don't understand what the problem is. 3 minutes ago, the door was closed.
So the emotion is done now.
I need to move on.
It's so ridiculous.
You put it in my lane, and so I took it and dealt with it.
Women will be amused by this because they understand it's when men do this, where it's like, I just need to express this thing.
Listen, I saw you so frustrated. I'm like, I don't like it.
I know.
And so this is what's going to happen.
I don't even want to discuss it anymore. This solution.
Not because I don't care, because it's done. You need a journal.
Oh my gosh. If you are listening for the first time, Brad has recently taken up journaling. Brad's like, journal and don't express to me your frustrations. That's how I would prefer this to be. And then you know what you need to do? You need to come to the resolution that God is in control. You're welcome. He is all powerful. We've eliminated the need for these conversations.
Let's move on. Where are we going to go eat? Let's move on.
If only it were that simple. This is why we need other women in our life that we can navigate through some of the emotions with and have a little bit more of a discussion versus a close the door conversation.
How should I have, I know this might be getting off topic a little bit, how should I have approached that whole situation?
Look at us applying the extra question that we talked about last week.
So I got home from work, right? And I'm still like, I'm like putting things
Brad's
down.
still in work mode, solve a problem.
Moving around, doing things. And I think you're reading by our fire. And so you're all laying there reading the whatever book. And then you brought all this up. And so what should I have done? Because what I did was I was walking to get cleaned up and all this was brought up. And I'm like, this is what we're going to do.
In those situations, I think what I'm looking for is a level of understanding as to the frustration. Not even just like, that is frustrating, right? And even something like that is just, like, cool. You can see why I am frustrated by this situation, right? And then being able to have the conversation, like, is there something that you're feeling like we need to do about it? Or, something like that makes it where at least I'm allowed the process of the discussion, and also the recognition that, that's a frustrating thing, for sure.
I felt I matched your frustration. I thought I thought it was implied that I was frustrated as well.
No, you matched it, but and this is the problem, and and this is what's going to happen. And there was no discussion, and even as to, is this something that you would like as a possible solution? It's just like, nope, here it is. You're welcome. Now your frustration is no longer able to be brought to the table.
Should I ask? I think, should I say things
Are
like,
you gonna practice?
I think, like, I see why you're frustrated. I can understand.
Why is that so, like,
it
difficult
just sounds
for
like
you
a
to
scripted thing to say that I wouldn't.
Maybe you need to have a few scripted things.
Do I ask if it's solvable?
Solvable?
Is this a solvable discussion?
That still sounds like you're shutting down conversation.
No.
You can say, are you wanting me to present a solution, or do you want me to have a
I said the same
present?
thing. I said the same. You just didn't like the way I said it.
Yeah, exactly. But you said, is this solvable? Which says Woman, this is a way off our topic, but what you just did was, woman, is this solvable? Okay, well then we're no longer talking about it.
No. No, it opens my brain up to, I'm not going to try to solve this.
I am going to say this.
Agree.
You should always assume that I'm not immediately looking for a solution.
Okay.
We've had
Okay. I've just freed myself of so much.
Oh my gosh. This is the most ridiculous conversation. Typically, when a woman is coming to you and expressing some level of frustration.
First of all, you'd be the only woman that's doing this to me. So.
Okay. Typically, when a woman is coming to her spouse with some level of frustration, it is not a lack of thought as to possible solutions for said frustration. It's more of a looking for a camaraderie in the frustration so that we can get it out and then move on to the solution phase, where it's like, even if sometimes there isn't a solution that's just like magical. It's just like, okay, well, I'm frustrated, and now I realize, like, can't stay frustrated and move on.
Okay.
But you don't want to transfer frustration from like situation to spouse, because he's like, is this solvable? Okay, well, your emotions are now invalid. I've solved it, and you're welcome.
I mean, you've clearly have solutions in your head, but maybe you just didn't see this other one that
I'm not saying that's not true.
Why. No.
It's just the approach of when that is true that makes it more of a discussion versus that work mode. Here it is. Yeah. This was way off topic, but in your lane versus their lane versus everything else. I think it's just really easy to.
But when you put that in perspective, then you don't build these cases.
Yeah.
Not that you can't get frustrated, not that you can't get annoyed, and this is a problem in our marriage.
Not that your spouse doesn't have to work on something, or that you have to work on something.
Both have to work on something all the time. Let me just give you another enlightening moment. Like, you are not perfect. They are not perfect. Like, there's always work to be done. It doesn't matter what you do, who you are, or anything. There's and I'm talking from a Christian perspective too.
Absolutely.
This is not just, you should always, there's always something you have to work on. You're not the perfect wife. You're not the perfect husband. Like, just know that, because when these things do come up, there is that sense of like, not understanding. Well, I mean, yes, some kind of understanding, but this sense of, well, I need to work on things also. It's not just one person's problem all the time. The one problem could be on that person.
Absolutely.
We just had an awesome coaching session with a couple, and there was one big problem, but there was always like one problem, that big problem, and another problem that was always just kind of together. One like ended up ripping in the other person's wound kind of thing. Yeah, and when they were first explaining it, how they had this moment when they really just, a breakthrough moment, really, when they were talking, and they separated it and understanding there was two different problems. And at first I was, so if you ever coach with us, there's a lot of times I speak, of course I do talk, but I'm quiet a lot, because I want you to talk, right? I want to hear what's going on, and I'm mulling it over and trying to really understand everything. And at first I was like, I don't quite understand. But then as it kept going, I was like, oh yeah, this 100% makes sense. And then I could see it in situations we've been in. Yeah. Right. I understand fully what you're saying. And I thought that was so good, because they both realized, like, this is a problem. Not the big problem. Like, this is a problem that I need to fix. This is a problem that I need to fix. We can support each other through, being better husband, being a better wife. We could support each other through this, support each other through the fix, quote unquote, right? But it's not my responsibility, if that makes sense, right? Because I do.
Like, I'm not accountable. I can support, but not be accountable for your actions or your issues, vice versa. It's like, but they could come alongside each other and realize this overarching problem is still something that both of us individually have to navigate in different ways.
Yeah.
I think that's powerful to realize. I had someone ask me this past week, when kind of this conversation came up about building the case against your spouse, right? And she asked me specifically, well, why should I keep doing this? Mm-hmm. And I just was like, why not? I was like, you've made a covenant before God.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately what it is in any one person, like in our lane, right? If we want to get specific about it, is what am I called to do to honor God in my walk with God, right? And my spouse, how I act, how I speak, how I think,
everything.
Right? Yeah. In my lane, ultimately, I answer to God for who I am, right? And so if your personal goal is that I will honor God in my marriage, right? Ultimately, then who you are begins to be refined, and what they're doing, you can't control, right? You can't control whether or not it is that someone else is walking that same path, but who you are in that same situation could be entirely different because you have just chosen, I will speak honorably. I will speak life. I will think honorably about my marriage, even if they're not. Yep. Because ultimately I answer to God. And I think that is really what it comes down to, is this element of the responsibility that you're constantly assessing and going, am I honoring God in this? Right?
Yeah,
am I
huge.
doing what God has called me to do? Okay, my husband is a workaholic, always gone, doesn't pay attention to me. But when I interact with him, am I still honoring God in the way that I speak, in the way that I show up, in the way that, even if he doesn't?
Yeah.
And is it fair? No. Mm-mm. It's this idea that marriage is meant to be this fair division of all the things, that is a falsehood, and it's not fair. And it's not fair how we have been treated by Christ, right? Thank you, Jesus, for that.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned in the beginning, thank you, Jesus, that he's not having to be in the courtroom, right? Just building a case against us. It's thank you, Jesus. And it's not fair, but you get a chance to be the hands and feet of Jesus in that relationship. And that's what you're responsible for, ultimately. And you hope and pray and give it into God's column, right? Which is I surrender my spouse to you. I'm going to continually pray for them. I'm going to continually pray that the example that I'm striving to do, right? Not perfectly, but I'm striving to do, will have an influence on what it is that my spouse sees in me and in their relationship with the Lord. And there's so much hope in that. Yeah. And I think that's where you can come to, you talked about journaling, your list of all the things, and then the reminder, ultimately, God is all powerful. Ultimately, God is able to do all things. And so I can continually lay it before him.
And you need to move back into, it's not a contract.
Yeah.
And move back into that. Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's crazy. I just had a thought and it left me. Yeah. Literally.
You don't even have to say that the thought left you.
I know, but then I felt stupid because I'm oh, that's crazy. Pausing.
You could have just had that silence with, the wisdom, the ponder moment.
I lost it. Totally lost it.
Well, do you have a challenge for the week?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough topic, right?
Yeah.
I also think that, part of what you need to do if you're in this realm is start looking at what you're grateful for.
That's good.
Because I mean, yeah, you're having this issue in your marriage and you're, you know, building this case for a divorce and then, why should I stay here? And then why not? I love that because it's, people always have the, why should I do something? And it's like, well, but why not do it? And then you see them like baffled because they really don't have another answer for that. But look around your life and what are you thankful for? I don't think it's healthy at all to have someone to be like a workaholic, right? Mm-hmm. Or however that looks, whatever that definition is, because when you get home, you need to be home. And, I think my career has pushed me into that realm of understanding that, when I'm home, I'm home. When I'm with my family, I'm with my family. I have to be, right? Because there could be, a thing that pops up that I have to leave. So while I'm here, I need to be here. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's very important. And then there'll be the workaholics that argue like, well, yeah, but I have to close X deal and I have to do this. Well, I understand what you're talking about, but also understand what I'm talking about, right? What's going to happen once it's all said and done? Like, are you going to look at your spouse and not know them? But you have this amazing house and all these cars or whatever you put your wealth into, right? But as that spouse on the other end, look around and see what you should be thankful for. And God has given you, and then understanding that, you can't controllably change somebody else. You can do that to yourself. Mm-hmm. You can change yourself. You can change your habits. You can change. If you don't feel like, again, let's go back, rewind it to the beginning. If you don't feel like you're hearing from God, well, how much time are you spending with him? Yeah. Right. It's a relationship. It really is a relationship. Of course, he could do whatever he wants, right? He can, stop you on the side of a road when you're running from him, but it's a relationship. Mm. How would you feel if you just got called randomly and someone was needing wisdom from you or help from you? It was just like this random out of the blue call.
I literally got onto our middle son today about that, where I was like, hey, well, when you text me, maybe like, hey, mom, love you, miss you. And I'm like, hey, you should buy me a journal.
Yeah. But it's a relationship. And the more you want to build that relationship, the more you're going to start acting like he wants you to act. Right?
Because we become like people we spend time with.
You're going to start loving how he wants you to love. You're going to start seeing people differently. Like you're going to start, all these things are going to start happening to you. And it can transform your marriage. Even if it transforms you first.
Absolutely.
It's going to transform your marriage. Like it is just the couple we were coaching. I was like, hey man, I used to apologize about this all the time. I'm not going to, but you need to make God a priority in your life. Mm-hmm. Not saying that he wasn't doing that. Yeah. But I was like, I'm going to point you back to the Bible all the time. Yeah. And he's big enough to be like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like he's big enough for that. Mm-hmm. Like there's been plenty of people that have tried to prove it wrong. And and then come out and like, nope, I'm a Christian now. Like I'm a disciple of Christ, know? So you can transform yourself by doing all those things. And do you really want it? Do you really want it?
That's the reality of it, because that's what so many people end up getting stuck in, is they don't want to walk out the things that God is asking them to do because they don't want to put in the effort.
They don't want to lay down their pride. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. If something's too hard, you don't want to do it, it's a pride thing. All of it's a pride thing.
Yeah. And my other encouragement would be, because you're talking about really this radical shift of perspective, right? That instead of having the narrative of what is wrong with, you're looking at what is good, what is right, like, what God tells us to do, right? What is of moral excellence? Like these are the things that we're meant to dwell on. And then remembering that, man, Jesus loves your spouse just as much as you. Yeah. And to try to have that where it's like, God, let me see him or her through your eyes. Mm-hmm. Let me see him or her the way that you see them, the way that you love them, right? And I think that too is just that shift of, removing yourself from the court case that you're building and saying instead that God, what you have given me, I want to freely give to others.
I mean, that burden you're carrying, the weight, like that's destroying you. Oh,
absolutely.
There's no winning in this courtroom. In your courtroom in your head, nobody wins. You're getting destroyed. You don't even realize it. And then, of course, the person that doesn't even know they're on trial, like
they're also,
yeah, you know, like, so the freeingness of just letting it go, man.
Yeah. Surrender ultimately. All right. Well, we will see you next week.